So YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to the show, everybody. Hi, welcome to Kramer and Jess Uncensored 147. Yeah. Marcy, one of our friends, asked me, she's like, "Are you guys doing a podcast this week?" I'm like, "Girl, don't put that on me. I can bet on a lot of things, but I would never bet on as a podcast coming out this week because you never know." You know what I mean? Like, we had to bump it last week because I forgot I had a neuropsychology appointment on Wednesday. My schedule got weird.
So we were supposed to do it Thursday?
Supposed to do it Thursday, right? And that seemed fine. We're all like, cool, Thursday's clear, Stoney? You got Thursday open? Like, my Thursday's wide-ass open. Jess, your Thursday wide-ass open?
Mm-hmm.
Wide-ass open. Cool. We are all good to go. Boom. What happened Thursday or Wednesday? Was it Wednesday night?
Wednesday night. Yeah. Medical emergency with Garage Boy. And I was like, hey, guys, I'm out tomorrow. Not coming in. I don't know what's happening.
I think we all just need to assume be careful on podcast days because that's the day that like something might go wrong in your life. If we're going to do the Uncensored show that day. So just prepare mentally like, okay, if something's going to go wrong this week, it might be the podcast day. Kind of serious actually though, for today's podcast is going to be all over the place. So just bear with us. Let's get serious for a second. What you went through was pretty wild.
Just
random. Just like random, scary, chaos. Everyone's fine. We'll start with like, he's fine. 100%.
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
Gerald passed out in the shower at the gym on Wednesday, and he was dehydrated, does a really difficult workout, and then goes from the steam room to the shower and literally just wakes up on the floor. And so I think the scariest part was not knowing how long he passed out for and what exactly happened, because no one was in the bathroom at the time and nobody saw him or anything like that. And what freaked me out too was the way he described how he was feeling right before. I guess he was like leaning against the wall because he knew something was wrong. And then he woke up on his back, just like, where am I? What's going on? And then he also said that like when he was out, he was at his 18th birthday party and he was like watching it. And then
you've not told me that part till
no,
right now.
this is the first time that we've actually had some time to like get into this.
Yeah.
But he was like watching his 18th birthday party. And then in that part, he was like, wait, wasn't I in the shower? And then he woke up and he was like, where am I? And he had no idea what happened.
Could he interact with this party? Do you know? Or was he like,
he just said he was just like, he was like witnessing it as it was happening. So he was like reliving the memories that he already has, is what he said.
Wow,
and he said it was like super vivid. Like he was
thought
there.
I died for a second, honestly. If I was like going back to like,
really?
If I was going back to like previous memories, that's like crazy.
I didn't even think about it that way.
You know what I mean?
Well, so that's what freaked me out. Okay, so
sorry, not to like make this worse, but like that.
Well, no. It freaked me out when he was sharing things like that with me.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know that.
When I see him, he has this like huge ass lump on his forehead.
Wait, where are you? Where are you in this whole thing?
Dude,
are you at the gym too?
No,
okay,
I was at home.
Okay.
So that was another thing. I mean, it was all over the place. So he comes home and he's like, I passed out. And I was like, excuse me? No, because when he walked in the door, I was like, what the fuck is that? Because it was like a tennis ball on his head. It was super inflamed and like super red.
Right.
And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I passed out at the gym. And I was like, what do you mean? And the way he was speaking, it's like he was piecing it together as he was telling me. And he was like confused. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I don't know how long I was passed out for, but I was like at my 18th birthday party and I'm like, are you okay? What's going on? And he was like, I'm not okay. Like I feel like very confused right now. And
so
I'm like,
he drove home and everything.
Yes. And I was pissed. I was like, I was like, dude, like, I was like, why didn't you call me? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then but then like, at first my anxiety and my reaction level was like ramping up. And then when I could see in his face that like he was like confused and like uncomfortable with not knowing what's going on, I immediately just like went down and I was like, let's go to urgent care just to see if everything's okay, because he's not like, he's just not that person. And I think what really scared me was seeing in his face like what is happening right now, and like I don't feel good and I don't feel in control of myself.
So like getting hyped up's not going to help the situation at all.
No. So then and I think also too, I think what was the scariest part is like his head looked really, really bad.
Yeah.
And that was just terrible. So we go to urgent care, they send us to the ER, and then that's when I told you and Tom, like, I'm going to the ER, like I'm not coming in tomorrow. I don't know what the fuck is about to go down, kind of thing. And we were there, I think, for like 5 or 6 hours. My first time being at the ER. And
by the way, isn't that you'll never feel less important in the world than in the ER. Like you never feel like, no matter how bad what you're going through, like you'll wait forever. Because I remember when I was there for my head thing, I'm like, I'm obviously the most important person in the world, what I'm going through. And then like you'll sit there for hours. And you're like, what if I'm dying? And they're like, yeah, you're fine.
To be honest, like I didn't, those weren't the feelings I was having. It was more so scary of just seeing everybody in there and seeing how much it was filling up, and just knowing that like shit is happening every second of the day and people are going through shit every second of the day. I think that's what it was, where it was just kind of like, holy fuck. Like, I mean, someone walked in bleeding, someone walked in like it was just,
and how normal it is for them.
That's what I mean.
Like shout out nurses for the ER, because like that shit, the most like calm human being. They're just like, okay, cool, yeah. No, like
that was the first time I ever truly felt I was witnessing like Grey's Anatomy in real life. Like truly, like they were on their shit. Job. They were on their shit, and then like behind the curtain, they were talking shit on people. I was like, oh my god, this is fucking for real right now. So, and also the crazy, like one of the most realist, and I think like, I don't know, I guess adulting moments I've ever had in my life is I'm giving all of this information, and I'm obviously speaking for him, and I'm giving explaining what's been going on.
Yeah.
And they're like, and what's your relation? And I was like, I'm his wife. And I was like, oh fuck. I'm his wife. I'm like responsible, like holy fuck. Like, and that was like, oh my god. I think that was just like, it was the realest. It was like the realest so far, the realest moment of our marriage, of our 5-month marriage that we had at this point. And I was like, holy fuck.
Still so weird.
Yes. Yeah. And being in that situation. And
but like think about for 1 second, like, okay, yeah, 5 months. Like, and this is crazy, crazy, scary.
A little over 4 months. Yeah.
Like, think about how many things you guys are gonna go through.
Yeah.
Like this. Like this is just the beginning.
That's what was, you know what I mean? In. Yeah.
Like this is just the beginning of like trials and tribulations as husband and wife that you guys are gonna have to go through. And like it's wild, right? Mm-hmm. Like y'all, that's it. That's the unit. And like y'all gonna have to figure things out. And like you're gonna go to the ER, and like he's gonna go to the ER, and like your kids are gonna have things are gonna happen, and like y'all just gotta figure it out. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. And I think the scariest part of the experience is they're moving so fast. So I don't hold anything against like nurses or anything like that. And honestly, I was so thankful to just the entire staff at St. Joseph's University in Maryland. Like everyone was so, they were as kind and responsive as they could be.
Yeah.
Like truly, I've never used the term like let them cook, but in my mind, I was like, I'm really like you have to let them cook. Like they're just like all over the place. I just think like now I have learned needing to be more assertive, like, hey, what's going on? What's that for? Because that's what would give me anxiety, because they're doing things to him. And I don't know why they're doing it, and I don't know what's happening.
Sure.
And I'm thankful that they did literally every test under the sun. One, to make sure, like, as far as like head trauma, but also to make sure it wasn't like a random stroke that he had, like something was wrong with his heart, which was scary.
Yeah.
And it was also overwhelming internally, just because I didn't want to let any of our family know until I had concrete information and I had a grip of what was going on, because I knew that they were going to freak out, and that was not going to allow me to stay at least neutral.
When did you let somebody know what was going on? So this happened at what time?
I got him in there, I think at like 7. Okay. And we didn't leave until like, I think it was like close to 1 a.m.
When did you let the family know?
The next day.
So nothing.
Mm-mm. I didn't tell them.
Were they mad?
No.
They understood?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I knew, especially with because I'm also thinking like, I couldn't imagine, I mean, I'm sure she would have wanted to know, but just being so far away, like, what is she going to do with that information? And like, all that's going to do is freak her out.
You're talking about Gerald's mom?
Yes. And I just know how she is. And I didn't want to do that to her if I knew that everything was going to be okay.
Do you
No, I
I
think,
know.
to be
I don't know.
honest,
I don't know the right answer
I
to
see
that.
both sides.
I know. I do
see both
too.
sides as like I was of her being the mom and then also me being the wife and me being able to do what I needed to do in the moment
Right.
because I know that she would have wanted a play by play of every second. She would have wanted to talk to me on the phone,
Yeah.
which I would have understood. But like that, and even if I told my parents, like it would just that would have fucked with me too
Right.
much because when we were together, I wasn't freaking out like outwardly in front of him. Like I wasn't crying. Like I really just kind of shut myself off and was just like matter of fact every moment of what we needed to do. And the only way I was able to do that was to really just focus in on what we were
Right.
doing. And if I had any sort of emotion, especially with anything family related, that would have made it 10
Yeah.
times
If you
worse.
were like answering the phone every 5 minutes
I
and
couldn't
stuff.
have.
Yeah.
And then like talking about it, I couldn't do it. So like I feel bad because I'm sure she would have wanted to know in the moment, but I also know that like I would not have been able to be who I needed to be for Gerald in that time. And I think that is more important than anything.
I think it's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, in outside point of view, I think your action was okay. I think it makes sense. If I was the mother,
You definitely would have wanted to know exactly when it happened.
right,
Which is fair, and I understand that.
right. Damn, man, that's a lot. That's a lot going
But she was
on.
really sweet though. Like when I
Yeah.
told her the next day and like gave her all this information, she was just like, "Let me give me just a second because I'm a little overwhelmed and but I like is it okay if I call it?" Like she was asking me all these questions and then she was like, "And I also can imagine what that was like for you to go through. Like, are you okay? Do
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
anything?" Which is
Right.
sweet because like I mean like she doesn't need to ask me that, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
felt
look
like
at
maybe
that.
she was understanding.
And you handled it.
Mhm.
You did it. You're proud of yourself?
Yeah, the next 2
It's
days were
because that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to like figure out. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Just to be like, oh, what do I do? You know, like,
And he's already not a man of many words. So like when they would ask him questions, he would leave out so much shit and I was like, "Dude, this is not the time." Like at this point I would just immediately start speaking cuz that was driving me crazy too cuz he was trying to
you're
like
like, we're not sure if this is the brain injury or this is just him not talking that much
no
because he's really not a man of many
no,
words.
so I had to be like, "This is what happened. This is what's going on. Like this is where we're at. This is how he's feeling."
But everything came back normal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good. And now he's
Now he's totally cool. The next 2 days were just rough, like just really, really sore, migraines, like the swelling and everything, and just
yeah,
needing to get hydrated. But like now he's all good.
that's good. That's good. We had a really weird conversation off the air today. And I'll tell you how we got here. And this is gonna be a weird by the way, hi to YouTube. Hey guys, sorry, we don't mean to ignore you. Hi. Isabel is here. Celia, what's up? Thank you guys for checking in. We do our show live on YouTube, and I'm not even gonna tell you when. I'm just gonna tell you to go subscribe, and then you'll get a pop-up. It's supposed to be Wednesdays, but you know how it goes. It might be Thursday, it might be Tuesday, it might be 10, it might be 9, it could be 11. I don't know. Just subscribe and we'll show up when we show up, you know. But thanks for being here, guys. Is it weird to have a bachelorette party in your 40s? I'm having I'm gonna tell you how we got here, and it was a really weird conversation, but it's kind of been over multiple instances. Jess told us this morning that her wedding pictures cost $7,000. And and I was saying it was kind of like an aside off the air, and I was like, you see why I have to like marry somebody that like has already been married? Because can you imagine somebody coming to me and being like, let's get married and spend $7,000 on a photographer? There's no way. Like in a second marriage, like there's no way. I'm not spending $7,000 on a photographer.
Damn.
We have I was checking the voicemail a second ago and for the show, and we'll play it back next week. But a woman basically, I won't give away too much, but it had something to do with a bachelor party and behavior at a bachelor party. And I was just saying, like, can you imagine me marrying somebody and her being like, I'm going to my bachelor party? I'm like, I got to marry somebody in her 40s because no woman in her 40s will go on a bachelor party like
And
that.
Stone was like, "What is she allowed to do?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I second that question as well, because like, who wouldn't want a bachelor party? No, like no matter what age that you're getting married, it's just like a part of the fun process.
I
And
just-
why would that be taken away? And why would that be looked down upon?
Is that a thing? Do women in their 40s go on bachelorette party? I've got plenty of friends in their 40s, and nobody's talking about going on their bachelorette party or like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going out of town for a bachelorette party. Like 30s, sure. 20s, absolutely. 20s, 30s, yeah, yes. It's like what you're supposed to be doing. But like, I just don't know anybody that's like going on a bachelorette party
But
right
what do you
now.
think?
And
like
like, I
40
would
isn't ancient.
It's not
like, what are you
ancient.
talking about?
I just feel like it's a very first wedding slash 2030 thing to do. I would feel really uncomfortable if my possible future wife came to me and was like, okay, yeah, we're getting married.
But
Yeah,
do you think
yeah,
people
yeah.
aren't getting married for the first time in their 40s?
They could be. They could
I
be.
think
Yeah,
that
they could
I think
be.
a lot of people are.
Sure. I still think it'd be weird. I think terrible story. Yeah, like wow, it's kind of it's bringing up it's giving R. Kelly. Remember the R. Kelly story came out and we were all
Yes.
like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
yeah.
And I'm sure as the story develops, we'll get more. It's also giving who else are we like shocked? Jared. Remember Jared
Oh
from
my
Subway?
Oh,
Jared was
yeah.
terrible.
That was crazy with all the kids and shit. And then Bill Cosby would be another one where we were like, oh my god, wholesome family guy, wait, he raped 80 women, what the fuck. Let me tell you how this story hit me and tell me if I'm completely off kilter, because what he did was fucking terrible. I mean, there's no doubt. But here's how this story hit me. When I was going through this yesterday, I was like, yeah, like I am disgusted and 100% not shocked by any of this. We have to remember the scene that rap music was in the late 90s and the early 2000s, when literally every single song that came out was literally objectifying women. I mean, these guys were literally telling us what they were doing to these women. Now, obviously, times have changed.
There's still music out like that.
Yeah. But I mean, every song was literally like, go fuck these women, go skeet on their faces. I mean, literally songs were skeet, 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 skeet.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all collectively like, yeah, we like this. Like, well, this is okay. Like, this is, and we're like, treat women like shit. Like, fuck them and treat them like shit. And like, collectively, we're like, yeah. And that was, I hate to say it, the culture. And there was really no hiding that that's how these rappers were at least portraying themselves at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So then when all these stories come out that P. Diddy was having parties where he's skeeting all over women, I can't say that like I sit back and I'm like, well, now I'm shocked in 2024 standards. I can't say that I'm really shocked for like 10, 20-year ago standards when literally the rap culture was saying, hey, we're throwing these massive parties. And when we do, all we're going to do is invite women over and objectify them and treat them as sex objects. And like, we're even going to portray this in every rap video that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I don't get the point that you're trying to make.
I'm just saying, as terrible as it is, I'm not shocked.
I don't think anyone is shocked with finding out that he's doing things like this.
Like, just reading through this, I'm like, yeah, this literally sad. But the abuse stuff is sad. The abuse stuff is the kidnapping, all that shit's fucking fucked up. But all these sex party stuff, I'm like, yeah, you told us that you were doing this kind of stuff. Like, you pretty much, you guys told us you were doing this kind of stuff. And like, we, for some reason, allowed that kind of behavior to be like, it's so funny when some of these songs come on, and like I listen to them and I'm like, damn, like how music has changed, how the behavior that we, even like the songs that I would listen to growing up, my parents were like, don't listen to this because it's trash.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, why? I don't understand. I listen to it now. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's terrible. It's overly sexualized. And like, I get it. I understand now. It's basically like, if I read this, I'm like, oh, this sounds like a rap song to me. Does that make sense?
I don't.
Not that it makes it okay, but it's almost like, yeah, that's like what they said that they were doing. And now, yeah, 1,000 bottles of lube is like exactly what they said that they were doing back then.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like, I don't know. Even though that was music, it's not like people were not saying that that wasn't okay, or it's not like women haven't brought that up and continue to bring things like that up as far as like this has been going on for such a long time. I think it's just a matter of finally people are listening. Like it's like yes, that was happening, and yes, that was the culture, but that also doesn't mean that like bad things weren't going on and that didn't make women feel like shit. I think like that's
Yeah.
also part of the conversation of being so pissed and upset that we have been dealing with things like that for such a long time, and it's not like everyone obviously on TV and in music videos, like that's what that looked like, but that still was shitty. So I don't know if what point you're trying to make along with that, but it's not like even when
I'm
I
not
see
saying
those
he's innocent by
no,
any
but I'm
means.
saying like even when I was seeing those videos growing up or like see those videos now, it's not like I see them and I'm like, yeah, it's like it's always been like, wow, that's fucking cool. Like it's I don't want you to think like women have always just been like, yeah, well, that's what was going on kind of thing. Like that was just what was that was just given that what was on the platform and that's just something that we had to deal with. And that's also with like interviewers at that time and the kind of questions that women were asked and like it's not like that was okay. Those were just the cards that we were given, and that was just the bullshit that we've had to continue to deal with, and like women in the spotlight and stuff like that. And finally, women are like, "Why are you asking me that question?" Or like, Why is the camera going down to my crotch area? Like, why are you doing that?" Or like Chapel Roan being like, "Don't tell me to shut the fuck up." Like, finally, those things like are starting to happen, and it's sad that it's 2024. Was I as far as like the shock factor, I think for years there have been whispers of Diddy in the media of him being a predator. And I think the shock factor is like, why has it taken, I mean, decades for this man to finally be exposed? But it was the same thing with R. Kelly. Like, there were
Yeah,
always like the peeing thing. Like,
yeah.
it's like people would make jokes about it. And even though things are being joked about and acknowledged in a funny way, and as a normal human being, you're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And I think with this, it's like, Diddy represents so many people in the real world that are doing these kinds of things behind closed doors who have power and money. That
Yeah.
is the most terrifying thing. The thing with Cassie, like that shit, I mean, that happens every day. I mean, that's even a bigger conversation that I was talking to my friend about the other day where it's like women almost literally have to be on the verge of like about to die to be taken for domestic violence to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Where like if you make a call, it doesn't fucking matter. Like the person literally you almost have to be like dead for people to give a fuck. And they're like, "Oh shit, well, maybe blah blah blah." Like to see what he did and he just got caught doing that on camera to Cassie. Who
I
fucking
think
knows
the
what he was
Cassie
doing
thing,
behind closed doors to other women for just to anybody.
I think it's wild with the Cassie thing that somebody had that tape for that long and still did nothing with it.
That's what I'm
That's like, to me,
saying.
that's so like, I think most of us would be like, fuck, I got this tape. I need to like go turn this in. But for somebody had
No.
it for like 10 years
And also
and did
there's
nothing with it.
and with that too, we also don't know whether I mean he's like there's stories about people being afraid of him and like what he was threatening,
Clearly.
aside from like money and like bribing, but like as far as violence and stuff like that, like there's a lot of people afraid of this man, which is why it's gone on for so long. So it's like I wasn't shocked as far as like I think I was just shocked with how long it's been going on. All of the other things and like all the really, really scary details. Like I think I'm afraid to find out in detail what has been going on and how long it's been going on for. Like that is so scary to me. And then just hours before he gets arrested, this fool is just like kicking it in Central Park.
I think you can become so much of a narcissist that you almost believe your own shit. I think he thinks he's innocent.
No, I think he thinks he's untouchable.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
I
he
think he
knows what
doesn't.
he's doing. I think he knows that
Yeah,
he's been getting away with it, but I genuinely think that he thinks he's going to continue to get away with it because he's been doing it for so long.
and sadly, he might. We'll see. I have a feeling a lot of these people, because they do, they get like a lot of these people that we see, I
I think he's going to jail,
for
personally.
how long? That's the problem. Look at a lot of these cases. Bill Cosby's living his life right now. Look at, what's the director in Hollywood? Friggin',
Weinstein.
Weinstein's living his life now. There's a lot of these cases just I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. It's just I'm glad that these situations, I mean, Diddy's is so fucking deep that it needs to be examined. But I'm also glad that we're at a point now where like we're not letting the objectification of women be a part of pop culture
So
anymore.
that's where I disagree with you, because it is. It
You
very
think
much
it's a part
so
of pop
is.
culture?
Objectification of women is so ingrained into our culture, period, whether it's like normal life or in media. It is. It is. I think
Can you give
people
me
are
an
just
example?
speaking up more. Just the commercial that I saw the other day of just like shaving creams, or just even like just little instances like that of like when you see a man. I mean, men also have to like shave down there and shit like that, but it's always just like of their face or something like that. But of women, it's like, why are we seeing like literal like full on close up shots like literally next to her vagina with her legs open? Just like little,
I
just
don't know if
little
that's
things.
objectification.
No,
though.
but it's like what it. But I think that's the problem, is that you don't think that that's wrong, but it is wrong.
I'm not saying it's not wrong, and it's not marketing towards one thing or another. What I'm referring to is objectification, meaning, oh, every woman that's being shown on a movie's got to have her breast hanging out, and it's got to be used to only be seen
But there are
as.
still characters like that. There are still characters
I
in
think that
film.
we
There's still
do a
characters in music videos. There's still like just even roles that women. It's like you have to like the roles that women have to have first before they're taken seriously and like as a serious
How about this?
actor or
I
something
think we're
like
doing a
that.
much better job
I think
at
that's a better thing to
policing it.
say.
How about that? We're doing a
Yeah,
much better job at
but I
policing
don't think
it
that's gone at all whatsoever.
than we were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that stories like Diddy is proving that, because 20 years ago, these kind of stories were just kind of normal life. And like, this was being portrayed. These freak offs were being portrayed on
In music
MTV.
videos, yeah.
And we were like, that's cool. Diddy, 1,000 bottles of fucking baby oil. That's cool. You know, it's just, I guess if there's anything positive to take from the situation, it's that. Let me ask you this question. I'm not going to say the company. I got a push notification from a company, and tell me if this is too soon. They say, they said, to be clear, we have 0 bottles of baby oil in our inventory. Too soon or good marketing?
Oh my God.
I won't say the company.
That's out of control.
Good marketing or too soon? Are we laughing? Are we gonna buy their products or are we not?
We're not, because that defeats the whole purpose of, again, like making it a joke. And so yes, I, like, to me, that feels like you're not taking anything seriously
I
of
don't
like what's happened and like what the victims are going through. So that would actually prove my point of just simple shit like that. Simple shit like that. That's what that feels like, because it's not funny.
I don't get offended, but I even was just like, that may have been a day too soon or a week. You know what I mean? That probably needed to rest a second before you send it out. All right. That's it. We were here this week, and we should be proud of ourselves. Everything went well today. So thank you so much for being a part of our show. We appreciate you. Jess, where we find you?
Just do it. JESSDUITT on IG.
Stoney.
Stone Felts on all socials.
I'm that guy Kramer. I got a podcast called Certified Mama's Boy, and YouTube. I think YouTube, we're actually back. Hi. I don't know what happened.
I know. I think our internet.
I think Odyssey didn't pay their internet bill, so sorry. But thanks for being here, and we'll see you when we see you. You know how it goes. Thanks so much. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you, YouTube. Bye.